Right now, further scrutiny of the Guptaleaks has implicated suspended Eskom CFO Anoj Signh in fresh kickback claims. The media investigative unit Amabhungane says that evidence points to a criminal conspiracy to defraud South Africans of billions. Signh is the former CFO of Transnet and, of course, currently on suspension at Eskom. So let's check in where we are with the Guptaleaks. To tell us more, we're joined by Craig Mkhune. He joins us from our studio in Cape Town. Craig, so a lot of questions around Anoj Signh. He was at Transnet, at Eskom, a lot of claims swirling. He's on suspension. Is there anything new?
Yes. What's new is that we have substantial evidence of him taking benefit from the Guptas, and quite a lot of it. And that is at the same time that he is overseeing the money at Transnet and then later at Eskom. And we see billions of contracts go out at Transnet, for which we've identified large numbers of kickbacks, which did flow to the Guptas. And then the pattern continued when he moved over to Eskom. All along he was taking benefits from the Guptas, so that's starting to look a lot like bribery.
The National Prosecuting Authority, Sean Abrahams, was speaking today, saying when it comes to the Guptaleaks, just because he's silent, it doesn't mean that nothing's happening. Does that inspire confidence? Everybody's waiting to see what will the repercussions be.
I'm hugely inspired to hear that. But yeah, let's see what the repercussions would be. I think somebody should have probably picked up Anoj Signh by now to ask him some very, very serious questions, just on the basis of evidence that's already out there.
The evidence that's out there does link him to Dubai, to accepting hotel stays, things like that. He was involved in this huge contract that you mentioned at Transnet. The kickbacks there, nearly 6 billion rand. So not small amounts. Remind us of the proof that he was lining the pockets of the Guptas. Look,
it looks like it looks systematic when you analyze what happened at Transnet from 2011 through to 2015, when Anoj Signh and Singh and Molefe left to go to Eskom. Transnet launched a 300 billion rand capital investment plan. They're going to buy locomotives, cranes, and there are all sorts of services that need to go with those. They need IT, they need telecoms, they need financial advisory services, and so on. And so there was a lot of money to be spent, and at every place where we can get a glimpse into the details, we find fingerprints of the Guptas and their employees and their people and their friends being involved. And now what we see in the Guptaleaks, we found a number of actual kickback contracts from contractors with Transnet, so they supplied services or goods to Transnet, and they agreed on the back of those contracts to pay money offshore to Dubai or to Hong Kong. And those companies receiving that money were channeling that money into Gupta accounts in Dubai. And we see that in the Guptaleaks, in their internal accounting records. We see it in their emails. We see it in their SWIFT transfers. And we see billions and billions flowing.
And there was a shell company apparently opened by the Guptas for Anoj Signh himself. Can we see what's going in and out of that?
No, we can't, and that's exactly the point. It's in the Emirate Ras Al Khaimah, and it's very well known for its financial secrecy. It's also a tax haven. There's 0% tax there. But they are very, very serious there about their banking secrecy. So money that's going in and out of accounts in that emirate is not going to be easily seen by any law enforcement authority anywhere in the world. And that's specifically what that country does, what that financial jurisdiction does. So that I think is incredibly worrying, that the Guptas gave him a company like that. And they happened to pick up that company 3 days after the locomotive contractor got its Transnet contract, and as soon as the money started rolling into the Gupta's accounts in Dubai, we see them giving that company to Anoj Signh. Circumstantially, that looks extremely bad.
Craig, one name we haven't heard for a while is Singh and Molefe, but he and Anoj Signh were often moving in tandem from Transnet, then Eskom, seemingly having a close working relationship. Do you think his name will come up again the more that Anoj Signh himself is implicated?
It seems very clear that the pair were a tag team, at least from 2011 when Brian Molefe joined Transnet. And by the way, even then we were asking questions about his relationship with the Guptas. But that's how he entered Transnet. He joined up with Anoj Signh, and they were very much together through in charge, dishing out these contracts effectively. Sometimes very much with their hands on the process, and sometimes with some plausible deniability. And they took that together across to Eskom. So today's story that we wrote ideally should have included both of them, but we're working with the evidence that we've got. And Anoj Signh is the one where you find the Guptas giving him a shell company. We find the Guptas planning and paying for 7 trips to Dubai for him. We have huge amounts of cash being given to somebody who looks a lot like Anoj Signh. In the Gupta's accounts, it's recorded as Mr. A. Singh, and he happened to fly up there just in time to perhaps receive that money. His alleged mistress or girlfriend at the time was also given a very special position in the Gupta's company. So this is the kind of evidence that we have on Anoj Signh, as well as I think more evidence than with Brian Molefe of him being hands-on in questionable contracts.
Craig, the evidence that you point to, like you say, it's so suspicious, and you have somebody with the same surname. But corruption is very hard to prove. Do you think there's enough to lead to jail time for somebody here?
Yes, I do think so, but I think we should leave that to the court. Well, I think I should leave that to the courts. I'm not expert enough to say that for sure, but yes, it looks like it.
Final question for you. I asked you about the NPA earlier. Maybe we'll hear more about that investigation in future. Are you able to track what's happening with the internal probe at Eskom itself right now?
No, I'm not very much in contact with what's happening there. But the noises that we're getting give the sense that the tide is turning against at least some people. Maybe that'll lead to the phenomenon of certain people being thrown under the bus, or maybe people like Anoj Signh will turn out to become state witnesses. Who knows? But we're hearing some encouraging noises from the Hawks. That's nice, although we do have a big political power shift coming and a deadly election shortly after that. So we don't know what to make of that. Over at Eskom, we've got Lynn Brown, the Public Enterprises Minister, making some good noises, but she's implicated herself. I don't know if she's just there to save her skin.
All right. Well, keep the hard digging going. Thank you very much for that update on today's latest installment on the probe into the Guptaleaks. That was investigative journalist Craig Mkhune from Cape Town.
Now, business confidence in South Africa is